Single dad sent a flirty text to cold CEO by mistake. 5 minutes later, she was outside his house. The text wasn't supposed to go to her. It was meant for his best friend, typed with shaking hands after another exhausting day, never intended to leave his private little world. But fate has a cruel way of pushing broken people into impossible moments. Because the moment single dad Hale accidentally sent that flirty message to the cold, feared CEO of the company he worked for, the woman everyone said didn't even know how to smile, his life spun out of control. And 5 minutes later, while his daughter slept on his chest, wrapped in the only warm blanket they owned, he heard a firm knock on the door and saw her standing there in the cold night air, staring at him like she had seen something she wasn't prepared for. If you believe in kindness, second chances, and life-changing moments appearing when we least expect them, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to K&H Stories. It helps us bring more stories straight to your heart. Hale had learned long ago that life didn't pause for the weary. It didn't wait for struggling fathers to catch their breath. It didn't hold back its storms simply because one little girl depended on him more than anything. After losing his wife to a sudden illness 2 years earlier, Aaron had stepped into a world that felt too loud, too harsh, and too unforgiving. He worked as a low-level assistant in the towering corporate building that belonged to Hale Industries, one of the city's most powerful companies, owned and ruled by Cassandra Vale, the woman who built her empire with ice in her veins, according to every employee's whispered stories. Aaron had never spoken to her, never intended to. To him, she was a distant legend of power, someone orbiting far above the world he and his daughter lived in. His reality was small, quiet, and filled with the kind of exhaustion that settles inside bones. Every morning, Aaron walked his 8-year-old daughter Lily to school before taking the earliest bus to work. Every night, he returned home long after sunset, sometimes too tired to eat, sometimes too drained to even think. And yet he smiled for her. He fought every battle for her, because Lily was the only part of his world that still glowed with warmth. Her laughter, her tiny arms around his neck, her drawings taped on the peeling wall of their small rented house, those were the things he lived for. But the past few months had been getting worse, bills piling up, his landlord threatening rent increases, his boss piling more tasks on him because he was quiet and eager to earn overtime. And then, as if the chaos wasn't enough, Aaron discovered that the company was planning to cut positions. His position was one step away from disappearing. His entire world stood on the edge of collapse. So that night, tired, beaten down, barely able to stand, Aaron typed a flirty, stupid, desperate but playful text to his best friend Daniel. A joke, a moment of release, a tiny spark of humor in a day drowned in stress. But exhaustion does something cruel to the mind. His thumb slipped. He hit send. And when the screen lit up, showing the name Cassandra Vale, CEO, his heart almost stopped. He wanted to vanish, to erase the last 30 seconds of his life, to crawl into the earth. But there was no undo button, no second chance. He stared at the phone, frozen, his mind racing with images of getting fired, humiliated, dragged out of the office. Panic roared through him, tightening his chest. 5 minutes passed, then came the knock on the door. Rain tapped at the windows, cold winds brushing through the cracks. Lily slept against him, her soft breath warm against his shoulder. Aaron stood up carefully, lowering her onto the couch. His legs trembled and his breath came out in weak, uneven gasps. He opened the door and she was there. Cassandra Vale, the CEO, the woman whose heels echoed like thunder in hallways, the woman rumored to fire employees for simply being late. But there was something unusual in her eyes, confusion, sharp curiosity, maybe even concern. Aaron stuttered, trying to form words, but she lifted a hand gently, stopping him. She glanced past him into the small, dimly lit house, at the cracked furniture, the flickering lamp, and the little girl curled up asleep under a worn blanket. Something changed in her eyes then, something softened. That moment was the beginning of everything. Cassandra stepped inside without waiting for permission, as if drawn by something she didn't fully understand. She looked around silently, taking in the details of Aaron's world, the quiet struggles written in the peeling walls, the tiny shoes by the door, the papers stacked on the table filled with overdue bills hidden under children's drawings. Aaron expected anger. He expected a lecture, a threat, something harsh. But Cassandra asked only one thing: why had he sent that text? He couldn't lie. He told her the truth about the exhaustion, the stress, the loneliness, the way a single silly message felt like a breath after drowning all day. His voice shook as he spoke. He didn't ask for pity. But Cassandra, who was known for being made of steel, found herself unable to look away from his honesty. For the first time in her life, someone was speaking to her without fear, without calculation, without trying to impress her. And for reasons she couldn't understand, it stirred something buried deep inside her. Over the next days, Cassandra began appearing in the office unusually early, not with her usual stern presence, but with curiosity that followed Aaron like a shadow. She watched him working tirelessly, skipping lunch to finish tasks others ignored, always putting others first. She noticed how he rushed out the door right at the end of the day, not because he was lazy, but because he couldn't leave his daughter alone. She saw the softness in him, the kindness, the strength hidden in quiet resilience. And without planning it, she began helping, first secretly, then openly. She adjusted his schedule so he could pick up Lily. She reassigned unfair workloads. She quietly ordered HR to remove his name from the list of possible layoffs. She even sent a brand new blanket anonymously to his house when she noticed Lily was too thin for winter. But her heart shifted most the day she saw Lily for the first time. Aaron had brought her to the office after school when the babysitter canceled. Cassandra found them in the break room, Lily sitting on Aaron's lap, feeding him pieces of her sandwich while he worked on a stack of papers. The moment Cassandra walked in, Lily smiled at her, wide and innocent. Cassandra hadn't seen a smile like that in years. She didn't know that her own childhood had made her afraid of softness. That success had become her armor. That loneliness had built walls even she couldn't break. But Lily's smile cracked something open. Over time, the three of them drifted closer, not dramatically, not loudly, but gently, like dawn slowly brightening a dark horizon. Cassandra would bring extra food by accident. Aaron would fix small things in her office. Lily would run to her whenever she visited the house, proudly showing her drawings. But still, Cassandra hid behind her walls. Power had always been her identity. Love had never felt safe. And Aaron, no matter how much he admired her strength, didn't dare hope for anything more. Everything changed the night Aaron received an eviction notice. He sat on the steps outside his house long after Lily fell asleep, staring at the paper with numb disbelief. 1 month. That's all the time they had left. He felt like a failure, like a father who couldn't protect the only person who depended on him. The world felt cruel again, too heavy, too impossible. He didn't know Cassandra was driving by, restless, lost in thoughts she couldn't quiet. She didn't expect to see him sitting alone under the streetlight, shoulders shaking silently. When she stepped out of the car and approached him, he didn't hide anything. He didn't pretend to be strong. He told her the truth,